In this video, we embark on a fascinating journey into the profound and often debated topic of the Third Temple in Israel, a subject that carries immense weight across historical, religious, and cultural landscapes. The idea of the Third Temple is not just a theological concept. For many, it is the very heartbeat of prophecy and faith. Within Judaism, it represents a long-awaited fulfillment of divine promises, a sacred structure that could reshape spiritual devotion. Looking back, the first temple, built by the wise King Solomon, stood as a beacon of worship until its destruction by the Babylonians in 586 BCE. Centuries later, the Second Temple rose, only to be reduced to ruins by the Romans in 70 CE, forever altering the course of Jewish history. But the story does not end there. The yearning for a third temple is deeply rooted in ancient scriptures, fueling a hope that transcends generations. This longing is not a relic of the past. It remains a powerful and living aspiration, influencing millions today. As we delve into this compelling topic, our goal is to offer an insightful and thought-provoking look at what the Third Temple represents across different faiths, including Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Each tradition weaves its own rich and complex narrative around the temple. To the Jewish people, it is a sacred place of divine presence, a cornerstone of national identity, and a vessel of spiritual restoration. For Christians, its significance is often understood through the lens of Jesus' teachings, symbolizing a transition from physical worship to a more personal spiritual faith. Meanwhile, for Muslims, the Temple Mount remains a revered site, home to the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock, monuments of deep religious and historical importance. The discussion of a third temple extends beyond theological interpretations. It raises profound questions about identity, heritage, and the fragile balance of peace in a region long shaped by conflict. The prospect of rebuilding the temple is not merely an architectural endeavor. It is a subject that stirs emotions, sparks debates, and challenges perspectives on coexistence and historical claims. Could the Third Temple serve as a bridge for interfaith dialogue, or will it deepen existing divisions? How do we approach such a topic with the sensitivity and respect it deserves? Through this exploration, we invite you to reflect on the past, present, and future of this sacred space. What does the dream of a Third Temple mean in today's world, and how does it influence the faith and politics of the region? As we navigate through history and contemporary discussions, we encourage you to engage with an open mind and a thoughtful heart. This journey is more than a historical recounting. It is an invitation to envision how faith, history, and hope intersect in profound ways. Join us as we uncover the deep significance of the Third Temple, its role in shaping beliefs, and its potential impact on the future of religious and cultural dialogue. In doing so, we strive to illuminate not only the complexities of this subject, but also the shared aspirations that bind people across different faiths. The Third Temple is more than a structure of stone. It is a symbol of human longing, resilience, and the enduring search for divine connection in a changing world. The Temple Mount stands as one of the most historically significant and contested religious sites in the world, revered by Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike. Its biblical history is rich and complex, beginning with key figures such as Abraham, who is traditionally believed to have nearly sacrificed his son Isaac on this sacred ground. This act of faith is foundational in Judaism and is also acknowledged in Christianity and Islam, highlighting the Mount's importance across these faiths. Later, King Solomon constructed the first temple on the Temple Mount, which became the central place of worship for the Jewish people. This temple was not only a physical structure, but also a symbol of divine presence and national identity, where sacrifices were made and prayers were offered. The significance of the Temple Mount continued with the construction of the Second Temple, initiated by Zerubbabel after the Babylonian exile and later expanded by King Herod. This Second Temple stood for centuries, serving as a focal point for Jewish worship and community life. However, the destruction of both the First and Second Temples marked profound turning points in Jewish history and belief. The First Temple was destroyed by the Babylonians in 586 BCE, leading to the exile of the Jewish people and a deep sense of loss and longing for restoration. The Second Temple met a similar fate when it was destroyed by the Romans in 70 CE, an event that not only devastated the Jewish community but also transformed their religious practices. With the loss of the Temple, Judaism evolved, shifting from a temple-centric faith to one focused on synagogues and rabbinic teachings. This transition was pivotal, as it allowed Judaism to adapt and survive through centuries of diaspora, yet the yearning for the Temple's restoration remains a central theme in Jewish prayers and aspirations. For Christians, the Temple Mount holds significant theological implications as well. The New Testament recounts Jesus' interactions with the Temple, including his teachings and actions within its walls. Christians view the destruction of the Second Temple as a fulfillment of prophecy and a pivotal moment in the transition from the Old Covenant to the New Covenant, emphasizing a spiritual rather than a physical place of worship. This shift has led to diverse interpretations of the Temple's significance within Christianity, with some viewing it as a precursor to the establishment of the Church. In Islam, the Temple Mount is known as Haram al-Sharif, or the Noble Sanctuary, and is home to the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock. Muslims believe that the Prophet Muhammad was transported from Mecca to this site during the night journey, making it the third holiest site in Islam. The presence of these Islamic structures adds another layer of complexity to the historical and religious significance of the Temple Mount, as it intertwines with the narratives of both Judaism and Christianity. Today, the Temple Mount remains a focal point of religious tension and conflict. The competing claims over this sacred space have led to ongoing disputes, protests, and violence, reflecting the deep-seated historical grievances and aspirations of each faith community. The site is a microcosm of broader geopolitical struggles, where religious identity, historical narratives, and national aspirations collide. Understanding the historical importance of the Temple Mount for Jews, Christians, and Muslims is crucial for grasping the complexities of contemporary religious tensions. It is a site that embodies both profound reverence and deep conflict, making it essential for dialogue and understanding among the faiths that hold it dear. As we reflect on the Temple Mount's rich history, we are reminded of the need for compassion, respect, and a commitment to peace in a region where faith and history are inextricably linked. In recent years, the idea of constructing the Third Temple in Jerusalem has gained traction among various contemporary movements, most notably through the efforts of the Temple Institute. Founded in 1987, the Temple Institute is dedicated to the research and education surrounding the Temple's significance in Jewish tradition, as well as the practical preparations for its eventual reconstruction. The organization has taken significant steps toward this goal, including the creation of detailed plans for the temple's design, the crafting of sacred vessels, and the training of a new generation of priests known as Kohanim, who would serve in the temple. The Temple Institute's work is rooted in a deep belief that the Third Temple is not only a religious aspiration but also a prophetic necessity, as many Jews view its construction as a fulfillment of biblical promises and a step toward the redemption of the Jewish people. Support for the construction of the Third Temple extends beyond the Jewish community, with various Christian groups also expressing interest in the idea. Many evangelical Christians, for instance, view the rebuilding of the temple as a significant event in biblical prophecy, often linking it to the second coming of Christ. This shared interest has fostered a unique alliance between some Jewish and Christian groups who see the temple's reconstruction as a pivotal moment in the unfolding of divine plans. This interfaith support highlights the temple's importance not only as a Jewish symbol, but also as a focal point for Christian eschatology, creating a complex web of religious motivations surrounding the movement. The political implications of these contemporary movements advocating for the Third Temple are profound and multifaceted. In Israel today, the Temple Mount is a highly sensitive and contested site, with its status at the heart of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The push for the Third Temple intersects with national identity, religious fervor, and political aspirations, making it a flashpoint for tensions in the region. Some political factions within Israel have embraced the idea of the Third Temple as part of a broader nationalist agenda, viewing it as a means to assert Jewish sovereignty over Jerusalem and reinforce the city's significance in Jewish history. This has led to increased tensions with Palestinian communities who view the Temple Mount as a sacred site in Islam. housing the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock. The advocacy for the Third Temple also raises questions about the future of religious coexistence in Jerusalem. As movements gain momentum, the potential for conflict escalates, particularly given the historical grievances and sensitivities surrounding the Temple Mount. The prospect of rebuilding the temple could provoke violent reactions from various groups, further complicating an already volatile situation. Additionally, the Israeli government has to navigate the delicate balance between supporting religious aspirations and maintaining peace among diverse communities in the region. Moreover, the international community closely monitors these developments, as the implications of the Third Temple's construction extend beyond local politics. The site is of global significance, and any changes to its status could have far-reaching consequences for peace efforts in the Middle East. As such, the movements advocating for the Third Temple are not merely religious endeavors. They are deeply intertwined with national identity, geopolitical dynamics, and the quest for peace in a region marked by conflict. In conclusion, the contemporary movements advocating for the construction of the Third Temple reflect a complex interplay of religious aspirations, political motivations, and historical narratives. The Temple Institute's preparations, the support from various religious groups, and the political implications in Israel today all contribute to a multifaceted discourse surrounding this sacred site. As these movements continue to evolve, they challenge us to consider the broader implications of faith, identity, and coexistence in a region where the past and future are inextricably linked. Understanding these dynamics is crucial for fostering dialogue and promoting peace in a landscape shaped by deeply held beliefs and aspirations. The Third Temple movement has garnered attention not only for its religious aspirations, but also for the key figures and organizations that play pivotal roles in advocating for its construction. One prominent individual in this movement is Adolfo Raymond, a passionate advocate for the rebuilding of the Third Temple. Raymond has been instrumental in raising awareness about the temple's significance within Jewish tradition and has actively participated in various initiatives aimed at promoting the temple's reconstruction. His efforts include organizing educational programs, public lectures, and outreach campaigns that seek to engage both Jewish and non-Jewish audiences in discussions about the temple's importance. Raymond's commitment to the cause has made him a notable figure within the movement, as he emphasizes the spiritual and prophetic dimensions of the Third Temple, urging followers to recognize its role in the fulfillment of biblical prophecies. In addition to individual advocates like Raymond, several organizations are at the forefront of the Third Temple movement. The Temple Institute, as previously mentioned, is one of the most prominent organizations dedicated to preparing for the temple's construction. It has made significant strides in educating the public about the temple's historical and religious significance, while also engaging in practical preparations, such as creating sacred vessels and training priests. Another organization, the Temple Mount Faithful, actively promotes the idea of Jewish sovereignty over the Temple Mount and advocates for the rebuilding of the temple as a means of restoring Jewish identity and heritage. These organizations work collaboratively to mobilize support and resources for the movement, emphasizing the temple's centrality to Jewish faith and culture. International support has also played a crucial role in the Third Temple movement, with notable figures like former U.S. President Donald Trump influencing the discourse surrounding the Temple Mount. Trump's administration made headlines with its recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital and the subsequent relocation of the U.S. Embassy to the city. This move was celebrated by many within the Third Temple movement, as it was seen as a significant step toward affirming Jewish claims to the Temple Mount. Trump's actions resonated with evangelical Christians, who often view the recognition of Jerusalem as a fulfillment of biblical prophecy. His support has galvanized segments of the movement, reinforcing the belief that the Third Temple is an essential part of God's plan for the future. The financial backing from evangelical groups has also emerged as a significant factor in the Third Temple movement. Many evangelical Christians, motivated by their theological beliefs regarding the end times and the significance of Israel, have provided substantial financial support to organizations advocating for the temple's reconstruction. This funding has enabled groups like the Temple Institute to expand their outreach efforts, conduct educational programs, and engage in practical preparations for the temple. The financial contributions from evangelical communities underscore the interconnectedness of religious beliefs and political aspirations, as these groups often see their support for the Third Temple as part of a broader commitment to Israel and its prophetic destiny. The significance of this financial backing cannot be overstated, as it not only provides resources for the movement, but also fosters a sense of solidarity among supporters. The collaboration between Jewish advocates for the Third Temple and evangelical Christians highlights a unique alliance that transcends traditional religious boundaries, uniting individuals around a shared vision of the temple's reconstruction. This partnership has the potential to influence public opinion and political discourse in Israel and beyond, as the movement gains visibility and support from diverse communities. In conclusion, the Third Temple movement is shaped by key figures like Adolfo Raymond, influential organizations such as the Temple Institute and the Temple Mount Faithful, and the international support that includes prominent figures like Donald Trump. The financial backing from evangelical groups further amplifies the movement's reach and impact, creating a complex interplay of religious, political, and financial dynamics. As these elements converge, they contribute to the ongoing discourse surrounding the Third Temple, highlighting its significance not only for the Jewish community but also for a broader audience invested in the future of Jerusalem and its sacred sites. Understanding these key players and their contributions is essential for grasping the complexities of the Third Temple movement and its implications for interfaith relations and geopolitical dynamics in the region. The Third Temple is a topic of profound significance and varying interpretations among the three major Abrahamic faiths: Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Each religion holds distinct beliefs regarding the necessity of the temple and its implications for their respective faiths and eschatological views. In Judaism, the Third Temple is seen as a vital component of the Messianic era. Many Jews believe that the rebuilding of the temple is intrinsically linked to the coming of the Messiah, a future leader who will restore Israel and bring peace to the world. This belief is rooted in various prophetic texts found in the Hebrew Bible, particularly in the books of Ezekiel and Isaiah, which describe a future temple that will be built in Jerusalem. For observant Jews, the temple represents not only a place of worship, but also a symbol of national identity and spiritual fulfillment. The longing for the temple's restoration is expressed in daily prayers, particularly in the Amidah, where Jews pray for the rebuilding of the temple and the return of sacrificial worship. This aspiration is deeply embedded in Jewish consciousness, reflecting a hope for redemption and divine presence in the world. However, the prospect of rebuilding the temple raises complex questions about religious coexistence, particularly given the current status of the Temple Mount, which is home to the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock, two of Islam's holiest sites. Christian interpretations of the Third Temple are varied and often tied to eschatological beliefs regarding the end times. Many evangelical Christians view the rebuilding of the temple as a significant event in biblical prophecy, believing it will precede the second coming of Christ. This perspective is influenced by passages in the New Testament, particularly in the book of Revelation, which speaks of a future temple in the context of divine judgment and restoration. Some Christians interpret the temple's reconstruction as a sign of the fulfillment of God's promises to Israel and a precursor to the establishment of God's kingdom on earth. This belief has led to a growing interest among some Christian groups in supporting Jewish efforts to rebuild the temple, viewing it as part of a divine plan that transcends religious boundaries. However, this interpretation can also lead to tensions, as the idea of rebuilding the temple is often seen by Muslims as a direct challenge to their religious claims over the Temple Mount. From the Muslim perspective, the Temple Mount, known as Haram al-Sharif, holds immense significance as the site of the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock. Muslims believe that this location is where the Prophet Muhammad ascended to heaven during the night journey, making it the third holiest site in Islam. The presence of these Islamic structures adds a layer of complexity to the discussion surrounding the Third Temple. For Muslims, the idea of rebuilding the temple is often viewed with apprehension, as it is perceived as a threat to their religious heritage and rights to the site. The historical context of the Temple Mount, including its long-standing significance in Islamic tradition, shapes Muslim views on the matter. Many Muslims see the Temple Mount as a symbol of their faith and identity, and any attempts to alter its status are met with strong resistance. The ongoing tensions surrounding the site reflect the broader geopolitical struggles in the region, where religious beliefs intersect with national aspirations. In summary, the differing religious views on the necessity and implications of the Third Temple highlight the complexities of interfaith relations and the challenges of coexistence in a region marked by deep historical and spiritual ties. For Jews, the temple represents a future hope tied to the Messiah and national identity. For Christians, it is often seen as a prophetic sign linked to the Second Coming. For Muslims, the Temple Mount is a sacred site that embodies their faith and heritage. Understanding these diverse perspectives is crucial for fostering dialogue and promoting peace in a landscape where religious beliefs and historical narratives are deeply intertwined. As discussions about the Third Temple continue, it is essential to approach the topic with sensitivity and respect for the diverse beliefs that shape the identities of millions around the world. The discussions surrounding the Third Temple have ignited significant controversies and conflicts, particularly between Jewish and Muslim communities over the Temple Mount, a site of profound religious significance for both faiths. The Temple Mount, known in Islam as Haram al-Sharif, is home to the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock, making it the third holiest site in Islam. For Jews, it is the location of the First and Second Temples, and the aspiration to rebuild the Third Temple is deeply rooted in their religious beliefs. This overlapping significance has led to heightened tensions, as both communities assert their historical and spiritual claims to the site. The tensions between Jewish and Muslim communities over the Temple Mount have been exacerbated by political, social, and religious factors. The site has become a flashpoint for broader Israeli-Palestinian conflicts, with each side viewing control over the Temple Mount as emblematic of their national and religious identity. The status quo arrangement, which allows Muslims to pray at the site while restricting Jewish worship, has been a source of contention. Many Jewish activists advocate for greater access and the right to pray on the Temple Mount, which is met with strong opposition from Muslim leaders and communities who fear that such actions could lead to the erosion of their rights and the sanctity of the site. This dynamic creates a volatile environment where any perceived encroachment by one group can provoke outrage and resistance from the other. Past incidents of violence related to the Temple Mount have underscored the potential for conflict. One notable example occurred in September 2000, when then-opposition leader Ariel Sharon visited the Temple Mount, sparking widespread protests and violence that escalated into the Second Intifada. This event highlighted how sensitive the site is and how quickly tensions can escalate into broader conflict. Other incidents, such as clashes between Israeli security forces and Palestinian worshippers, have further fueled animosity and mistrust between the communities. These violent episodes not only result in immediate casualties, but also have long-lasting implications for intercommunal relations, deepening divisions and perpetuating cycles of violence. The role of international politics in the ongoing conflicts surrounding the Third Temple discussions cannot be overlooked. The Temple Mount is not only a religious site, but also a geopolitical battleground, with various international actors influencing the dynamics at play. The recognition of Jerusalem as Israel's capital by the United States under the Trump administration, for instance, was celebrated by many within the Jewish community and the Third Temple movement, but it was met with condemnation from Palestinian leaders and the broader Arab world. This decision intensified existing tensions and underscored the complexities of international involvement in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Moreover, the support from evangelical Christian groups for the Third Temple movement adds another layer of complexity to the situation. Many evangelical Christians view the rebuilding of the temple as a fulfillment of biblical prophecy, leading to increased political pressure on Israeli leaders to support such initiatives. This external influence can exacerbate tensions, as it may be perceived by Palestinians and the Muslim world as foreign interference in a deeply local and sensitive issue. The intertwining of religious aspirations with international politics complicates efforts to achieve peace and coexistence, as each side navigates not only their historical grievances but also the broader geopolitical landscape. In conclusion, the controversies and conflicts arising from discussions about the Third Temple are deeply rooted in the historical, religious, and political contexts of the region. The tensions between Jewish and Muslim communities over the Temple Mount reflect broader struggles for identity, sovereignty, and recognition. Past incidents of violence serve as stark reminders of the potential for conflict, while international politics continues to shape the discourse surrounding the site. Understanding these complexities is essential for fostering dialogue and working toward a peaceful resolution that respects the rights and beliefs of all parties involved. As discussions about the Third Temple continue, it is crucial to approach the topic with sensitivity and a commitment to promoting understanding and coexistence in a region marked by deep-seated divisions. The concept of the Third Temple is deeply rooted in biblical prophecy, with several key texts frequently cited by proponents of its construction. These scriptures are interpreted in various ways by different religious groups, each drawing unique conclusions about their significance and implications for contemporary believers. One of the most frequently referenced texts is found in the book of Ezekiel, particularly chapters 40 to 48, which describe a vision of a future temple. In this vision, Ezekiel outlines detailed measurements and specifications for the temple, emphasizing its grandeur and the divine presence that will inhabit it. Proponents of the Third Temple often interpret this passage as a clear indication that a future temple is not only possible, but necessary for the fulfillment of God's promises to Israel. This vision is seen as a blueprint for the Third Temple, reinforcing the belief that its construction is a divine mandate. Another significant text is found in the book of Isaiah, specifically Isaiah 2:2-3, which prophesies that in the last days the mountain of the Lord's house will be established as the highest of the mountains, and all nations will flow to it. This passage is interpreted by many Jews as a prophetic vision of the Third Temple, where all nations will come to worship God. For Christians, this text is often viewed through the lens of eschatology, suggesting that the establishment of the Third Temple will coincide with the return of Christ and the establishment of God's kingdom on earth. The implications of this prophecy resonate with both communities as they envision a future where the temple serves as a center for divine worship and international peace. The book of Zechariah also contains prophecies that are frequently cited in support of the Third Temple. Zechariah 6:12-13 speaks of a future priest king who will build the temple and rule in peace. This passage is significant for both Jews and Christians, as it is often interpreted as a reference to the Messiah. For Jews, the Messiah is expected to rebuild the temple and restore Israel, while Christians may interpret this figure as a foreshadowing of Jesus Christ, who fulfills the role of both priest and king. The anticipation of the Messiah's arrival and the subsequent rebuilding of the temple is a central theme in both faiths, reinforcing the belief that the Third Temple is an essential part of God's redemptive plan. Different religious groups interpret these biblical texts through their unique theological lenses, leading to varying understandings of the Third Temple's significance. For Jews, the prophecies serve as a source of hope and longing for the restoration of their national and spiritual identity. The temple is seen as a place where God's presence dwells among His people, and its rebuilding is viewed as a necessary step toward redemption and the fulfillment of God's covenant with Israel. This belief is deeply embedded in Jewish prayers and rituals, reflecting a collective yearning for the temple's restoration. In contrast, many Christians view the prophecies related to the Third Temple as part of a broader eschatological narrative. They often interpret the rebuilding of the temple as a precursor to the second coming of Christ, linking it to the fulfillment of biblical prophecies regarding the end times. This perspective emphasizes the temple's role in the divine plan for humanity, suggesting that its construction will signal significant spiritual events and the establishment of God's kingdom on earth. This interpretation can lead to a sense of urgency among some Christian groups, motivating them to support Jewish efforts to rebuild the temple as part of their faith commitment. The implications of these prophecies for contemporary believers are profound. For many Jews, the longing for the Third Temple is a source of spiritual inspiration and a reminder of their historical connection to Jerusalem. It fosters a sense of identity and purpose, encouraging communal prayers and actions aimed at realizing this aspiration. For Christians, the prophecies serve as a call to engage with Israel and support its people, viewing the Third Temple as integral to their understanding of God's plan for the world. In conclusion, the biblical prophecies cited in support of the Third Temple are foundational to the beliefs of both Jews and Christians. Key texts from Ezekiel, Isaiah, and Zechariah provide a framework for understanding the significance of the temple in the context of divine promises and messianic expectations. The differing interpretations of these texts reflect the diverse theological perspectives within each faith, shaping contemporary beliefs and aspirations regarding the Third Temple and its implications for the future. As discussions about the temple continue, these prophecies remain a vital part of the dialogue surrounding faith, identity, and the quest for spiritual fulfillment. In this video, we explored the multifaceted topic of the Third Temple, delving into its historical, religious, and political significance. One of the key takeaways is the profound historical context surrounding the Temple Mount, which has been a sacred site for Jews, Christians, and Muslims for centuries. The First Temple, built by King Solomon, and the Second Temple, which stood until its destruction by the Romans, are central to Jewish identity and spirituality. The anticipation of a Third Temple is deeply rooted in Jewish tradition, where it symbolizes hope for redemption and divine presence. For Christians, the temple is often viewed through the lens of biblical prophecy, linking its reconstruction to the second coming of Christ and the establishment of God's kingdom on earth. Meanwhile, for Muslims, the Temple Mount is a revered site, housing the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock, making it a focal point of faith and identity. The video also highlighted the contemporary movements advocating for the construction of the Third Temple, including organizations like the Temple Institute, which is actively preparing for its eventual rebuilding. We discussed the support these movements receive from various religious groups, particularly evangelical Christians, who view the temple's reconstruction as a fulfillment of biblical prophecy. This interfaith support underscores the temple's significance beyond Judaism, creating a complex web of religious motivations and aspirations. However, the discussions surrounding the Third Temple are not without controversy. The tensions between Jewish and Muslim communities over the Temple Mount reflect broader geopolitical struggles, with the site serving as a flashpoint for conflict. Past incidents of violence related to the temple have underscored the potential for escalation, highlighting the need for sensitivity and understanding in discussions about the site. The role of international politics, particularly the influence of figures like Donald Trump and the support from evangelical groups, adds another layer of complexity to the ongoing discourse surrounding the Third Temple. As we reflect on the implications of the Third Temple for interfaith relations, it becomes clear that this topic is not just about a physical structure. It embodies the hopes, aspirations, and historical grievances of diverse communities. Understanding the differing religious views on the necessity and implications of the Third Temple is crucial for fostering dialogue and promoting coexistence in a region marked by deep-seated divisions. The Third Temple serves as a reminder of the shared heritage and spiritual aspirations that connect Jews, Christians, and Muslims, encouraging us to seek common ground and mutual respect. We invite you to reflect on these themes and consider the broader implications of the Third Temple for interfaith relations and peace in the region. If you found this video informative and thought-provoking, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel and like the video. Your support helps us continue to explore important topics and foster meaningful discussions. Additionally, we encourage you to explore related content on our channel, where we delve deeper into the historical and contemporary issues surrounding the Temple Mount and its significance for various faith communities. Thank you for joining us on this journey of understanding, and we look forward to engaging with you in future discussions.